Hi, I'm Darren. These are my hands, and in the box today we have check it out. Turkish Groo from 1989. Wow! So, super big thanks to friend of the channel, Michael, who was instrumental in helping me purchase these Turkish Groo and a few other really interesting things that I hope to show you over the course of the next who knows how long. Let's take a look at this. So what do we have here? You might think, oh, you've got two of the same thing. I've actually got two different editions of Sevimli Barbar, Groo, Yaz Ozel Seisi. Please forgive my pronunciation. I am not Turkish, but I do know a little bit of Turkish. In fact, if I was to meet Groo, I would probably say to him, Aptel tembel tavuk soon, and then he would probably slay me. I visited Turkey decades ago. It was a beautiful place, and that is just about the only Turkish that I remember. I was a silly young person at the time. Okay, so these are two different issues from actually a 1, 2, 3, 4 issue set that collected, I believe, issues 1 through 16 of the epic Groo the Wanderer run. And so I've got the second and third publications in this series. So I've got epic 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9, 10, and 11, 12. First thing I'd like to do is take a look at the cover with you. And, of course, you recognize the cover from Groo number 22 of the Epic series. Now, I haven't really looked super close at these books yet, but when I was looking at this earlier today, I was struck by how faithful this cover is to this cover. And you will understand what I mean when we actually start looking inside these volumes. Because I think these covers are actual photo reproductions of issue number 22. And the reason I was thinking this was I was looking at the coloring work done on the Turkish cover here. Yes, it looks just like Sergio's drawing here, but sometimes you might see Sergio's line work recolored for one of the international publications. Not so in this case, I don't think. Take a look at the shading on the arm, how it follows exactly Tom Luth's coloring here. Take a look at the leg where it comes down here, down the back side here. Take a look along there. A little bit of a thicker area there, comes along there. There's that thick area right there. Take a look at the shine on the gauntlets on the left edge here. It's almost exactly the same there. I think that this is a photograph of the Epic Comics cover. Now, you know why I am positive that that is the case? Right here in the top left corner, you can make out the Epic comic logo right there. There it is, right here in the corner. And of course, Spidey's face down here, couldn't have that. So that's why we've got this rectangle here with Yaz Ozel Seishi in it. I think this translates to like summer special issues. So there you go. I believe that this is the actual photo from Groo 22 reproduced on the cover. The color in the printing is a little bit off, of course, but I believe that this is an actual photograph. And right here you see this little marking on the edge there. It's on this one too. That's not a print problem, I don't think. I think that's a staple. I think maybe even up here, this is where the staple would be. And a little bit of perhaps a tear or something in the cover when they photographed it. So very interesting. They just blacked that out. I wonder if they just had a marker or something blacked it out. Don't need to get too in-depth into this, but that's what I think is going on here. The cover of Groo 22 is used for the cover of all 4 issues of Sevimli Barbar. Oh, and you know what else was super funny? I took a picture of this and ran it through Google Translate. Sevimli Barbar. Barbar, I imagine is Barbarian, Sevimli, cute, pleasant, Groo the pleasant, cute Barbarian. So, that's the covers. What's on the back? We got ads for Conan on the back, different ads for Conan on the back. So, different books. Ooh, a little spoiler there. What we've got in this issue here is Slavers. I think this is the Eye of Kabul, Elephant Graveyard, and the Kantors, Treasure of the Kantors. And then over on this side, we've got Pigs and Apples, the double Arcadio story, a hero's quest and a hero something else, and Groo versus the Thespians. Groo and the Thespians, or maybe just the Thespians. The Groo meets the Thespians. So, should we look at everything in both of these today? That could be pretty exciting. I think what I'm going to do is we'll take a page or two from each story and compare it to the drawings in here. So inside, yeah, that's not quite Groo as Sergio draws him. At one point I wondered if these were actual knockoffs, because I'd seen some scans online of these Turkish Groos. But notice down on the corner, copyright 1989, Sergio Aragonés. Permission has been granted to print these comics in Turkey and Turkish-speaking countries by Alpha Publishing. What's going on here? It's been traced. Let me pull out the Treasure of the Kantors, and we can take a quick look, comparing side by side, and maybe I'll even try to layer some of these traced Turkish Groos on top of the original Groos, just for fun. So, cover. Do we see the cover in here? I don't think we do. Let's just flip here in the Epic comic, find a really nice picture that we think, oh, look at that. Okay, we got to take a look at this. What does that look like? Wow. You know, you can see that these Turkish folks are not getting the beautiful art that Sergio has done in their version of Groo the Wanderer. Missing out on so much detail. And of course, you know, it's black and white, so you don't get all of Tom's great coloring. I'm going to have to let go of this for a second. Let's find a great page and panel from Groo versus the Kantors to compare. I'm curious to see this. Oh yeah, there it is. Look at that. You even miss how this gag is played out over the course of 4 panels at the bottom by splitting it across 2 pages here. Huh. Oh, let's take a look at this. What does that look like? Wow. You know what? It doesn't do a bad job of this, but it just goes to show how much of a difference adding color to Sergio's artwork benefits how we see it and how we distinguish different elements in the comic. Now, I'm sure if we looked at Sergio's original artwork compared to the Turkish tracing, it would be much easier to take in visually than this is here. Not taking away at all from Sergio's skill here, but wanting to point out how much more information that the color gives us so that we can see what's going on in these images. Really neat stuff. All right, let's take a look at this last picture here. Again, so much of the detail is lost in the tracing. The size is smaller, and then the color information that Tom gives here in the original, we lose in the Turkish reproduction. It's neat to see how it's kind of cropped. So we've got this Kantor here. So it's kind of cropped across here. The moral box is brought up. The word balloons are extended over here. Looks like they're made larger here as well. You know, decisions had to be made as to what to include and what not to include, and that's what's happening here. Really interesting stuff to compare the two. You notice that this was issue number 8. The way the Turkish Groos present the stories is actually in descending order, not ascending order. So we start with issue number 8, and then we're going to do 7, 6, and 5. So what I'm going to do is, instead of just flipping through here, I'm going to grab my copy of issue 7 here. I'm going to find myself a representative image of issue number 7, and then we're going to find it in the Turkish Groo. I wish they showed the cover. That would be great. You know what? I gotta have to show you the Ivory Graveyard splash page. That'll be one of them. Will it be? I think it will be. This might be interesting. This fight scene here might be interesting to look at how an evening scene, a night scene that is colored by Tom in this fashion, you know, with just the yellows and the purples and the pinks, kind of showing the firelight illuminating a scene, how that translates to black and white with a sketch. Oh, and then we got boats. Okay, can't do it all. Okay, we'll take a look at this last one as opposed to the splash page. We might look at a boat really quickly on the way by, and then we're going to take a look at this one here. So, you know, if only I had a bookmark. Hang on. Go there for a second. I do have a bookmark. Get into the groove. Thank you, Michael. Oh, you're probably saying, don't put the bookmark in Groo. I'll be careful. All right, let's find this image and see how detail and color are conveyed in Turkish Groo. Oh, wow. I opened to the right page immediately, so this is it. Wow, it's got just such a totally different vibe to it. It doesn't have the moodiness. It doesn't set the atmosphere the way that Tom Luth's coloring here has. Never mind the simplicity in the tracing. We've got these guys down here and Groo running in. Very interesting. Yeah, wow, check that out. And then we will see. Let's pop this in here. Oh, we don't need to. The end here. Oh, there's a boat. Doesn't look nearly as nice as a Sergio boat. You know, they're all right. They have the form because they are tracing from Sergio's artwork. Wow. That is a really different outcome. Traced, not colored, cropped, right? Like at first, I didn't understand what this was here. The elephant's arm, and then losing the bottom of Groo. He's standing on this pile of elephant bones, but we don't get that there in the Turkish version. Wow. Very interesting. At last, things are coming Groo's way. Yep. See, it's funny. Instead of end, I don't know, something in Turkish that probably means the end. And then philosoph. Does that sound like an English word to you? Philosopher, the sage? I think it is. We'll just take a look at, right at the end here, the sage and Mulch walking away from the castle here. This is an image that I use to teach myself how to draw the sage, so I feel like I'm familiar enough with that. Oh, look at, so we've got 9 frames of pantomime practically here, reduced to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Interesting. Yeah, and again, you know, the whole image suffers from having to be cropped to fit the castle in here, but you don't get all of the sage. Yeah, it's really too bad. Really interesting to take a look at these things side by side. All right, let's take a look at another comic. You know what? You're going to have to forgive me. I'm going to skip over the Eye of Kabula and go straight to Slavers. Actually, before we go into Slavers, just want to show you, I don't know if this is a letters page. I think it is. For example, we've got Ankara, which is a city in Turkey. So is Bursa, so is Istanbul, right? We've got more tracings here, but original art down here. Wow, that's strange. Doesn't even look like it fits. Maybe somebody drew Groo and sent it in. Very nice. Answers to puzzles, perhaps from previous issues. A new Groo crossword. Well, that would be really interesting to translate it and then have a Groo crossword, but of course not knowing Turkish words, that wouldn't work very well for me. Some more original art. I wonder if this is the publisher of the comics. Maybe these are caricatures of the guys who are doing the tracing. Oh, I think that this is a fan version of a Groo story. This is Groo waiting forever to come up with an idea, and then he just goes and attacks. Interesting. Okay, so next up, we're going to do slavers. Let's find a representative image. Something bold. We should look at that ship. Maybe that picture of Groo. Maybe Groo going on the attack here. Definitely going to end with this one. All right, we'll just look at two. Groo going on the attack and this final ship there. Okay, let's look for this one. There it is. Some heavy-handed inking on the hair. No elephant in the background. There's one there. Not as many soldiers in the background here. But I guess that's what you've got to do when you don't have color to rely on to set things apart, to take this detail and just kind of mute it into the background, right? You've just got to make the choice to not include stuff. Very interesting. All right, let's take a look at this beautiful ship on the Moro page. Oh, wow. It just had to be cropped so much. Like, you don't get it. You lose all the beautiful shipness here. And then you've got sails, which are nice, like you've got those, but you lose them due to the lack of color. And yeah, just really difficult decisions having to be made when printing these stories in a different form factor of a comic book. Presumably, Alpha Publications was just used to printing books at this size and this form factor, so they had to redraw the art to make it fit. And you just lose so much. Ah, what a shame. Still really neat to see. All right. Put this over to the side. Let's take a look at maybe a couple more. I think we're going to be starting with Groo meets the Thespians. You always want to see how he handles that splash page. At least I'm interested in seeing that. Oh, that would be an interesting one to see as well, eh? All of Sergio's art is just so wonderful. I do kind of want to see that. I think it would be neat to see this panel as well, how all of this detail is translated. Okay. All right. Groo meets the Thespians. Groo and the Actors. Oh, wow. It's like you're looking at a totally different image. You know, losing so much of Groo behind the scroll here, the trees, and like the darkness, both with the inking and the coloring. You're losing that contrast, the ability to focus the eye's attention on different elements of the drawing. Wow, what a difference it makes. All right, let's see if we can find that image of the carts carrying the scenery. There it is. And yeah, actually, you know what? That's not too bad because of the black sky behind it and the moon. It does a pretty good job. I would have loved, of course, to see it wider, right? Because that's a great image there. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. And then I think we were going to go to, there we go, that's what we wanted to see. The advisors at the window. You know, in some of these panels, just so sparse, right? Nothing at all. There it is. Yeah, the tracer just chose to remove so much of the detail. And I understand that decision being made. Like, can you imagine how busy this image would look if it was just black and white on this page here? Lost the guard. Look at all of the nice detail work. It's just not included here. Fascinating stuff. Forgive me for skipping over the Arcadio stories. We're just going to take a quick look here at pigs and apples. I just love the sage. Ooh, that'd be good to see those 3 panels, eh? And it'd be interesting to see if they name the towns. Well, let's start by finding this. Oh, that's such a nice bookmark. Pigs and apples, perhaps? Oh, there it is. Interesting that the tracer chose not to include the sage's flask, although it seems like there's plenty of room. Oh, there's town name. Marchiquera? Oh yeah, same name, Marchiquera. Let's find one more good image. That's beautiful. Love to see that. Yep, let's take a look at that. There it is. You know, reduced down to a cropped version, but not too bad given the black inking in the back and around the front here, you know, kind of focusing the attention like the color does here. Could be done a lot worse. Not too bad at all. Really neat stuff. And as I said, I do want to show you the back of these Turkish Groos because have you ever read the story of Rambo and Groo? Neither have I. I just do not know what to say about this kind of thing. It's insanity. And then, can you guess what's at the back of this one here? I think this might be a Turkish cartoonist, maybe the one who is doing the tracing here. And I think what we have here is Groo and the artist, I guess we have to call him, arguing about the work here. So this is very meta, and I'll try to put the translation for this up on the screen, but the idea being that, no way, I am the son of Sergio here. I am Sergio's creation. What are you doing drawing me like this? I think that's basically what he's saying. Of course, we recognize this from the first issue of Groo. Epic Groo covers, and this, of course, was the corner box. Sword fights, lost limbs, bombs, swords through the head, chopped up bodies. Again, what do you say about that? I do not know, but it certainly is interesting to see what came out as official Groo in Turkey in 1989. Well, friends, you can help out by visiting my Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. If you are inclined to help me acquire these really fascinating and rare Groo the Wanderer items, but don't feel that you have to, please make sure that you are subscribed and have notifications turned on. Give this video a like, leave a comment, that really helps, and I will see you again soon with some really neat Groo stuff right here on GrooTube.